Well, I was going to put together a video like my previous vlogs, which are basically audio essays based on what's written in my written blog. But taking a look at what I did during my 2-week visit to Toronto, I suspect that a video based on that would be quite lengthy. And I don't want to beat the thing to death. I think that what I've written in the blog captured the essence of my visit. So I'm just going to highlight a few things that stuck out to me. Now, of course, this is not saying that what I don't highlight wasn't valuable to me. I certainly cherished the times that I was able to spend with family and the friends that I got to see and the things that we did. These are just highlights. One highlight was being able to go to the final day of the Rogers Cup tennis tournament. Now, I have to admit that while planning for this vacation to Toronto, I sort of had in the back of my mind to plan it for when the Rogers Cup was there, thinking that there might be an off chance that I would be able to go. Now, this is the third Rogers Cup that I've gone to, but it's the very first one that I was able to sit so close to center court. And let me tell you, when you're that close to the players and to the action, it gives you such an amazing appreciation of just how fast the game is and just how good these players are. And plus, we were watching the #1 tennis player in the world. We were right there with Roger Federer. And, you know, just being so close to greatness is really, really inspiring, especially coming from someone who tries to hack around with their own tennis game. But another thing that really impressed me about Roger Federer is that after the game I did some research on him and found out that he founded the Roger Federer Foundation, which is basically an organization that helps out underprivileged children, particularly those in South Africa, through sports, particularly tennis. And I think it's just amazing to be able to foster new hope and passion where it may not otherwise be found through an amazing pastime and recreation like sport or like tennis. And speaking of sporting activities, another highlight for me was the Toronto 30K A Midsummer Night's Run. It was the inaugural run, so it was the very first time they did this 30K run down in the beaches of Toronto. And the cool thing about this particular race is that it's run in the evening. Now, trying to run a long distance race in the daytime in Toronto summertime can be quite dangerous. So having it start at nighttime at 8 p.m. was actually a very enticing reason for me to join this race. Another reason why I wanted to join this race was because I have to admit, fairly disappointed with my results of the Calgary Marathon. Now, mind you, I've always been an advocate of it's all about the training and the preparation, and there should be less emphasis on the race itself. But I guess I'm just self-competitive by nature and had certain expectations for myself. And so when those didn't pan out, I was a little bummed about that. So I felt like this was maybe an opportunity for me to redeem myself. Now, mind you, I didn't actually make the decision to run in the race until I got to Toronto because I wasn't quite sure if I still had my legs because I haven't done any training since the Calgary Marathon, which was more than a month ago. So I had to do a trial long run just to make sure that I was okay. And after that went well, that's when I decided to enter the race. So both A and I went down, and she was doing the 15K relay, and I had entered myself into the 30K, the full route of it. Although I did have some very helpful friends who wanted to maybe partner up with me and become my relay partner, suggesting that maybe I run the first 29.5K and they would take the last 500 meters to the finish line. Anyways, it was a great time, and I was quite pleased with the results. The race itself was great. It wasn't too hot that day, although it was kind of humid and muggy. It got to the point where I was really dripping in sweat, even before we got to halfway, but I didn't get dehydrated and finished at a pretty good clip, and I was quite happy with the results. Another highlight is being able to have lunch with my grandmothers. They're quite well along in their age. At least I think 80 is well along in age. Maybe it's just my mindset. But they certainly both live fairly independent lives, so I was a little worried that I wouldn't have a chance to meet up with them. But just as my luck would have it, I got to meet both of them on the same day. So we decided to go have lunch together, which in itself actually posed some challenges, considering one of my grandmothers is a devout Buddhist and a very observant vegetarian, and the other grandmother is very picky about her foods and is allergic to MSG. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of options to choose a place where I could host both of them for lunch. So we decided to go to McDonald's, because then my vegetarian grandmother could have a grilled cheese sandwich, And my other grandmother, she actually likes the fillet of fish that they have there. So it turned out to work out quite well in that sense. And the 3 hours that I spent with them felt like it went by really quickly as we caught up on things. And grandmothers, they like to repeat themselves and offer up very helpful advice over and over and over and over again. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed spending that time with them. So now I'm back in Calgary, having spent 2 weeks of very meaningful time there. Lots of things that have happened that help to provide me with some refreshment and some new insights and things like that. And overall, I'd say it was a really good trip, so I really had a good time. So yeah, now I'm back in Calgary and looking forward to the next adventure that awaits me.